Hey there. So I have tried something like this before on this channel. I think I've done it just like 2 times now. And it is commenting on a celebrity's public behavior. Because, as a society, we're kind of entranced by celebrities, I think. A lot more than those that don't end up in the public eye. That much is undeniable. And then that can take twists and turns, but generally how it goes is that the more popularity you have, the more it's likely that you're in someone's thoughts at any point in time. That's without knowing that person, because then I think the most important part of life really is the bonds. The bonds that you build, the friendships, the relationships that you build with others. But I think I'd like to talk about this guy today. And would it be Elon Musk? Would it be Sam Altman? It's actually Elon. And the reason I like to do it, well, I wish I knew more about Elon. I read quite a bit of his Wikipedia, but one thing about the guy is he strikes me as an interesting story. I guess I'd argue that we're all based on a fabric of storytelling, and in that sense, Elon strikes me as an interesting story. Wait, okay, perfect. I just wanted to make sure that I was using the right microphone, because otherwise it's a waste of a take, right? So, the reason in particular, well, the reasons, but the reason really is the massive success that the man has found was not built upon deliberate fuckery. It was built upon genuine innovation. That's the argument I put forward. Now, there is a lot of hoopla about did Elon own the businesses first or did Elon drive them forward. There's some exceptions to him driving the business forward, such as Twitter, which turned into X, and other than that, I'm not as sure about it. Maybe OpenAI, the concept of the video itself, really, that's been led forward by Sam Altman. I think Elon, despite some formidable efforts in the business world, Elon is self-absorbed. But how do I put it? It's not that I care to excuse it as much as I simply understand it a bit too much to be into the self. I'm really a self-absorbed guy myself, But Elon is self-absorbed. He is solely dependent on his own ideology, and I think those are actually kind of admirable traits. Elon is called online, he is always called a pathological liar. What I see are misestimations with progressive idealism. I do not consider it to be as bad as some lying, but some things could go too far with that. Security concerns, for example. Security concerns for Tesla. That is something to consider. And based on the little I've gathered, I can say this. The Teslas, I think they're more likely to catch on fire, but I'm not entirely certain. Not by a huge amount, but you think about it, right now Elon is into politics, and to have access to a network of information, well, what does that mean? Because his department is dog. In other words, it is the coin. The dog coin, I'm kidding. But it's interesting how that links up. Department of Governmental Efficiency, actually, was it? and they're making some very idealistically progressive arguments, okay, about wanting to cleanse the political game of its mischievous ways. But a complaint that a lot of people have is that they are not... Now I'm just realizing I could like literally just click, because I'm not even showing the video, right? I'm sorry about that. I kind of feel like shit now. But if I show a video, then I will click that. But it's interesting how in this governmental practice is a lack of is a lack of proof being given beyond hearsay. If you're gonna cleanse the governments, now I think to take away previous established conduct, you need a valid etiquette, you need a valid reason, and it's the best concept ever for that reason to be put forward to the public in plain and bold letters. Instead, it's almost like there is just no particular care for putting it forward beyond Elon's words or someone else's words. I mean, there might have been some light efforts, but yeah, I think X in the end it is, and you know, you've got everyone on Reddit rebelling, calling it Twitter. I think X is for a while there was this kind of kick with the community where there would be like the corrupted files, like corruption would be detailed for powerful corporations and criminals and so on. And I thought that was like an interesting thing, but then I remember at some point I noticed some preferential treatment, you know? And I think Elon is a man that has genuine and true intentions, but then he bows down to the corpse, just like the corporations, just like the billionaires next to him. And not only that, but he's more likely to buy out a company than to go and to change its name. And I know for him, Twitter was a very personal thing to do it for him. I can sense that much. But the thing is it was not his platform, but he envisioned it as his platform, and then he bought it because there was a significant connection to him in his mind with X. And I think that is an interesting thing. The best I can really say about it is that it is good that he's found heart in communicating through it. And it is good that he supports the community. Those are clear elements of a good CEO, you know. But I think he could have tackled invigorating the company a hell of a lot better. And based on one thing, it's the firing of the workers. I think Elon is not a philanthropic man nearly as much as he should be. Beyond his idealism and his business ideals, he is not a philanthropic man. I don't think he believes in it nearly as much as he should. And the fact that he'd fired 80% of his workers, you know, over at Twitter. It was near Twitter down. For the most part. I'm sure he's done some firing since X, but yeah, that's pretty massive shame overall. I mean, sure, I'm sure that there were some that were perhaps not as viable of opportunities to a net positive income ratio, right? But then consider me fool with like 10% or 20%. I mean, we're talking 80% of the entire company. I don't think any number is really right. You know, I think if you've entrusted people into a position, if you've believed in them, why take that away? I think Elon Musk maybe does not know coding as much as some people in that company at all. So why would he feel he has more of a right to fire them, right? Now, I've believed that Elon is, despite it all, despite everything I've said, Elon is he's surprisingly, in a few ways, he's surprisingly like me, and I'll go into what those ways are. So, for starters, I hold a kind of like do not give a fuck attitude in the sense that I would seek out the opportunities in life that saw fit for me, like that were most fit for me to seek out. I wouldn't care about the economic prospect until it came to be the time for that. I would just do whatever the fuck I want. If I went into business, I would do business with something that I adore, not the new trend. Okay? Electric vehicles were not really a trend by then. They were an unusuality. They were an normality. Okay? And what I'm trying to say is that Elon is also like that. He doesn't care about, at least for a long time, probably to this day. He doesn't strike me as the kind of guy that really cares about the formalities of living. So anyways, next thing, Elon is still poetic. Elon is still likable in how he communicates his perspective. Elon is straightforward. Elon is elegant. Elon is pointed, but Elon is direct. I think that sums me up perfectly, you know. I've really realized that. Now, it's kind of... It's kind of put it all into a perspective. I think that at the end of the day, I mean, the difference is, everyone would say the money, right? Difference is the money, it's fucking clear. Because I don't have any income other than my disability payments. But, you know, I think Elon obviously cares about money, probably more than any man should. There was a time, though, where Elon did not let his decisions be influenced by money. At least not nearly as much as he could have. What that means is he took the hard paths. He took the hard routes. He took the harder parts of life instead of the easier parts of life. He could have sat on his ass and done nothing with himself, you know. Instead, he went for it. Sure, it's easier when you have your parents' money. But it wasn't that simple regardless, you know. So, I guess these are just some thoughts I wanted to get out there, you know. These are some thoughts I wanted to share. And also, there's another thing I want to share. I have been having sort of like psychic visions. It's pretty adequate with what it is. I mean, I'd say they're psychic visions. And the whole point is that he's like been a part of them. You know, before my psychic trip truly began, I had this one talk in my head, okay? It must have been like with an Elon Musk replication or a clone or something. It can't have been the real guy, of course. But I had an entire conversation, and it was very formal and poetic and well done. Although I was carrying it for the most part, and it was with me and Elon Musk. Something like that has never really happened again. But there's always been signs in my mind that the man is watching me. And if by some miracle he were to ever see this video, then I'd say one thing. I appreciate you. I think you are some kind of psychic thinker. In its undeniable prognosis, you are a psychic thinker, which would give you the intuition to do the right things in life. My mind put me to some hard work, believe it or not, but it never gave me the results so far, at least, that I've sought, that I've hoped for. And what I can say more than anything is that we live in a sane society. We live in a society that trusts. I trust that you will do the right thing, Elon, and that you will try alongside us. You will try to bring forward a better standard of living for people. Okay? I want to trust that that's what you'll do in politics. Because the words do seem genuine to me. The words are words and actions are actions, my friend. See you, bud.